Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Trig Podcast with Joey Gosa TV. On this beautiful evening, it's 9 p.m. Pacific here in the Long Beach, California area, Wednesday, April 29th, 2020. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to this video. Leave me a comment below. Let me know where you're watching me from, your house, your car, the apartment. Are you out and about? Are you on the road? Are you at home like most of us? What are you doing? And leave me the name of the favorite movie that you've been watching on Netflix, the favorite movie or the favorite song or the favorite YouTube video, whatever, the book that you're reading. Come on, who's reading these days? I actually love to read, but the podcast that you're listening to, the Netflix show, etc. What is the name? Leave me a comment below. Let me know. If you're watching me on YouTube, thank you. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe to my channel. If you're watching me on Twitch, thank you for being here. On Instagram Live, hello Instagram. On Twitter and Periscope, I love Periscope. If you're watching me on Facebook Live, thank you for being here. Talking today about our leadership styles. I recently posted on my Facebook page. If you don't follow me there, make sure you type in my name and follow me. And I was reading about all the different styles that we tend to have in terms of how we lead. And you don't have to be a leader of an organization, a nonprofit, or a business. You are a leader of your home. You're a leader, most of all, of yourself. How are you leading yourself these days? Very important. So I want to type here, I want to bring up here on the screen. Let's see here if I can do this. So I'm going to get rid of that, which was awesome. That was earlier today. But I want to bring here online the definition or the description of the three types of leadership or of leaders that exist, that are needed. And I know that you high achievers, you think you're all three, so you're not. But I think it's good, to consider kind of what the differences are between the different styles, so you can hone in on your particular type, because then that'll guide you in terms of what you're supposed to do at work, at home, leading your relationship, leading your own life, as I said, most of all. So let's see here. I think I have it here. I think you can see that, right? Let me see here if you can see that. Yes. So let me move this to the right a little bit if I can. There it is. Okay. So I think you can now see it on the screen. So that's what I just typed a little bit ago, 43 minutes ago, on my Facebook page. 3 types of leadership styles: visionary leaders, practical leaders, empathic or feeler. And again, if you think that you're all three, listen so that you can hone in on the one, because to know what is your particular style of leadership is important, so that you know your strengths, your weaknesses, what to be aware of. Are you needed right now? What are the things that you need to be doing if you don't feel very useful, etc.? So here are the 3 types of styles as I have studied. I have a master's degree in leadership, and I have studied, and most of all, just watched people and read a ton of books, and just 20 years of experience in leadership in the church especially. But basically, there are visionary leaders, practical leaders, and empathic or feeler, or you could call those spiritual type of leaders, or you can even say mystic type of leaders. And so let me just explain. The first 2 are obviously very easy to understand, but the visionary type leaders are those that, and I wrote on here, they might be struggling right now because there's not a lot of vision needed right now. When you're afraid for your life or you're afraid for your job, it's hard to want to dream of the future. It's like the whole Maslow's pyramid. Right now, we're at our basic, most nomadic, or most, cellular atomic level, which is we're just afraid for our lives. Vision and purpose and meaning is a higher level of spirituality and thinking. So visionary leaders right now, they're twiddling their thumbs, waiting for that moment when visionary leadership will be needed again, and it will be. But I think if you are a visionary leader, the task for you, as I wrote on here, is to listen to your heart. Most visionary leaders are head types. They live in their heads, meaning they see things clearly. They're intuitive. They connect the dots. They move people towards a vision. They're very task oriented and very focused. But again, right now, there's not a lot of that happening. Even if you're trying to lead people, people aren't really receptive to that because they're afraid. And so I'm not saying you shouldn't inspire, you shouldn't talk about vision. It's just you will feel like you're not making a lot of traction. And so right now, the task, as I wrote on here, is to listen to your heart, is to go deep into your heart, is to love the people around you, to not worry so much at this point about the vision of your company, your business, your nonprofit, your church, your family. Not that you shouldn't think about that, but to not push so much in that area and to instead focus on loving people, focus on caring for your family, caring for your children, taking care of course, of yourself, so that you can have the strength when the time is right to once again lead the charge forward. We need you, visionary leaders. It's just right now, you might be feeling kind of useless, or not useless, but like you're a fish out of water. And that's because the second types, the practical types, are the ones that are shining right now. If you want to know who is shining right now in the middle of this opportunity, as I call it, are the practical leaders. I'm not saying that you're not practical, that we're not all practical, but if you study leadership, as I said, you have a certain style that you lead with that is the most comfortable for you, that when you let go of the wheel, you tend to move towards. And sometimes it can be a bit unhealthy, but most of the time it is a blessing in disguise. And so practical leaders are needed right now. If you are a practical leader, I thank you, I bless you, I honor you, I respect you. We need to, everyone that has a practical, maybe a family member in the family, or a staff member, or a friend who is very practical. We need to be praying, supporting them, helping them along, because they have a lot on their plate. This is when you think about praying for the firefighters and the first responders. That's why a lot of people, in many ways, most people are practical leaders. I would say if you were to break this down, you could probably say 80% are practical, 10 visionary, and 10 empathic or feelers. That's just how the gifts of humanity, and if you want to think spiritually, that's the gifts of the Spirit. Most people are practical, and thank God, right, that we have a lot of practical people in this world, leaders, because right now it's about getting those masks to people that need them in the front lines. It's about having the lines at the supermarket, right, every 6 feet. And someone had to practically think about that and implement that and make that into a system and blah, blah, blah. You have to have the teacher types leading right now, the administrative types, the people that work with their hands, the builders, those that build homes, that build, that connect the electrical. I'm just using metaphors, not that people are necessarily doing that right now, but it's those people that are going to take out the trash, that are going to clean the whole house, So if you're a visionary leader and you're wanting to build a new house, you really can't do that right now. You have to clean the house you have, and that's where practical leadership is so important. And again, we all can morph and we can all become different types. And sometimes the visionary leaders have to become more practical or maybe more empathic. But these are just some of the general ways in which we all lean. And then the third is the empathic leaders. And the empathic leaders, the spiritual leaders, and I hesitate calling them spiritual because I think all of us want to be spiritual and not religious, as they say. But my point is that it's not about necessarily, how do I get rid of that? Here we go. It's not about being a spiritual person or a Christian or not, or a person of faith. You can have practical people that are very much people of faith. It's about those who lead with their empathy, with their senses. Maybe not their senses as in numbers and figures, but with, you could call it with their feelings. Although again, that gets a negative rap a lot of times. But we're talking about empathic leadership, with those people that perceive things. Maybe you can call them intuitive leadership. That would be maybe another way to put it, is intuitive leadership. Are people that they often are the artistic creatives. You could call them the mystics. They're not philosophers. That would be more perhaps the practical or even visionary, but they might be philosophical types. But they definitely are those who are in their head. They feel things with their body. They perceive things with their gut. They perceive energy. They perceive spirit. They are the discerning types. The Bible calls them discerning. They have a gift of spiritual discernment or of wisdom, the Bible calls it. People out there in the quote normal secular world may call it people who are maybe intuitives. If you want to get into more New Age stuff, they might be the channels or the, what do they call them, sharmas, I believe. So you can get into a lot of that stuff. But my point is that you need to realize how you tend to lead. And right now, the spiritual or empathic leaders can be struggling because there is this light versus darkness kind of battle that's going on out there with this virus. It's obvious that a lot of people that are empaths and feelers can perceive the negative around us, the bad news, the bad report, and it can really dim that light inside of us. Or on the opposite end, we can perceive hope, or we can perceive spirit, meaning God's presence, through different means, and then we can emote, or we can emit, we can give off that hopefulness, that joy, that peace, that perspective, that beauty, that hope to other people. And so that's, I think the spiritual empathic leaders, as I wrote on here, are very needed, but can be easily blocked right now because of all the negative energy, negative vibes, as young people call it, that can be in the air. So my advice to empaths and to feelers is to protect your heart. The Bible says, above all things, protect your heart. So that's especially true for those empaths and feelers out there, is protect your heart. If there are certain things or people or family members even that bring you down, or that you allow them to bring you down, really, I think is more accurate to say, then you need to either become stronger yourself, or you need to move away from those people, persons, situations, or places, so that you can stay in your bubble of hope. And this is where bubbles are very good. Sometimes we see or hear the word bubble and we think, oh, that's a negative thing. But for spiritual leaders, empath, feelers, this is a great time to protect yourself and to live in your bubble, so that when you have that perspective and that peace and that hope, you can come out swinging and really bring perspective and wisdom and hope and joy to the masses. So that, here's why this is important, all of this, so that we're not led astray by false leaders and by negative leadership, or by scam artists that right now are selling you everything under the sun online, selling you their course or webinar, their 10 tips to an amazing business. Those are the people that are thriving right now, are the people that are thieves and robbers, that love themselves, the narcissists, the people that are that want power. Those are the people that the devil can use, and a lot of it is just negative energy. We call it the devil in the Christian faith, that will use these types of individuals to lead others astray, and especially maybe more innocent or a weak, I don't want to call it weak, but just more innocent people that would be swayed by these promises of financial wealth, or a vaccine, or this conspiracy theory, all that stuff that's happening out there these days. People that are more perceptive, or not perceptive, but more susceptible to these kind of tricks they have to be more careful. And so these different types are out there, and you have to know yourself. Another post that I had on here that maybe I'll go over again is the 3 types of people in the world. And there are different types of personality tests and all these things out there, but I'm not talking about personality necessarily. I'm talking more about kind of the way that you respond to tension and to frustration and stress these days. Obviously, right now, all of us are dealing with a ton of stress, a ton of fear, a ton of anger, maybe some laziness and apathy. or maybe shame that we're not doing more than what we are doing. And so this post that I also wrote talks about the three different types of people in the world. There are gut types, heart types, and head types. And again, before you say that you're all three, which is pretty naive and at times I may be even a bit arrogant, I've done this before. It's good to understand kind of that you have a unique bent to you, to us. We all have a bent, and to really understand kind of what makes a gut type really a gut type, heart type, or a head type a unique person. So just go through these here quickly. The gut types, they are people that are in their bodies. They, as I wrote on here, they will tend to struggle with anger. They react. They're people that are often the intuitives. They kind of sense things. They're not necessarily thinking about it or feeling things, but they're instinctively feeling something. They kind of know that they know that they know. And so these are the gut types. And as I said on here, they tend to struggle right now under stress with anger. And so some might repress it, some might let it all out, some might ignore it, but it's still there. And so if you are a gut type, the thing for you to do is to move towards your heart, or maybe even towards your head, to think, okay, is this rational, what I'm reacting to? Is this real? I know it seems real to me, but do I need to not overreact and maybe swallow my pride, as some would say? And do I need to lead with my heart, or show my heart, or maybe be more logical in this situation? So the heart types are people that they feel their way through the world. And these are people that create beautiful things, that bring beauty and laughter and emotion, and they're the ones that paint the walls, that color the skies. These are people that are very beautiful inside and out. And right now, the heart types, as I said earlier about the empaths, can be struggling because their hearts are perceiving a lot of negativity. You have to protect your heart, as I said. But they inspire us, but sometimes they struggle with shame. They feel like they're not smart enough, or they maybe feel that they're not loving people enough, or they're not perhaps unique enough, that they're not succeeding the way that they need to be succeeding right now. And so they might then turn that into shame, that there's something wrong or missing in them. And then the head types are very, very beautiful people. These are the ones that think before they act, that are rational. Not that they don't have a heart, not that they don't have a gut. Again, we all have all three, but we tend to lead with one more than the other. The head types are people that they're looking for the facts. They're wanting to think things through rationally. They're highly intelligent, very sharp individuals. They love input and knowledge. They love to know. And right now, because it's almost impossible to know what to do or to know when this thing will end, right now the head types need to really lead with their hearts. They need to lead more with love and not so much with ration or with facts. Now, the head types, they actually deal with fear and anxiety. And so that's where the head types can get, as I say, in their heads too much. They begin, maybe you'll think this of someone, that their head is spinning. That's because the head types and all that intelligence and all that wisdom, when the wrong thing gets in there, it's like letting a marble into your head, then it rolls around and it just causes chaos. So you have to let that thought out of your head, or get that thought out of your mind, and lead with your heart when your head is betraying you. And so each one of these types, we can fall into the trap of letting our gut betray us, or letting our heart lead us astray, or letting our head betray us. And so when we're, especially right now, under stress, we have to guard for not letting, let's say if you're a heart type, not letting your heart betray you or deceive you. The Bible says, do not be deceived, right? Because the enemy is out there. And so we have to say, I think my heart is deceiving me here, even though I am led by my heart and I am a head type, or heart type, excuse me. Right now, I need to go with my gut. This doesn't feel right. I have an example of a friendship that I used to have, that we used to do a lot of business stuff, and my heart was like, I like this person, we really get along. But my gut was telling me all along, this isn't going to work. And when I finally listened to my gut, I made the right decision. So that's what you need to be aware of. If you are a gut type, as I said, your gut might be saying, this person's out to get me, they hate me, they want to bring me down. That might be true, but sometimes your gut, you can misread things. And so you have to go with your head and to think, okay, wait, is this rational? Am I thinking rightly here? Is this even the right read? Could I be wrong? And you will become a much healthier leader and a much healthier gut type. If you are, let's see, a head type, as I said, I think I already mentioned this. When you're under stress, sometimes your head can deceive you, and you can begin to focus or hyper focus on the wrong thing. I'm going to fail, or I'm going to betray the person I love, or I'm going to lose my family or lose my job. You can be so in your head that it betrays you. So you have to go to your heart for the head types and think about how, let's say, God has loved you so much, or think about how much your kids love you, or think about how your mom loves you so much, or how much you love your children or your husband, and to let your heart come out and not be so caught up in your head. So those are the ways that we can all grow and to learn how to lead our families better, our organizations, our nonprofits, our homes. Maybe you have roommates or friends or a relationship that you're in. You're a married person, how to better lead your family or your marriage. These are the tips and the tools that I know will help you to kind of come through this whole experience, this narrative, this virus in a better place. I'm especially thankful, as I said, for the practical leaders right now, because they are truly out there in the front lines, leading us through this mess. And so I applaud the practical leaders for looking at the numbers, for cleaning their homes, and for organizing their teachers, or for making sure that all the volunteers or the staff is doing what they're supposed to be doing. So props to you, to all of the practical leaders, visionary leaders. Your time will soon come. You just have to hang in there, let your heart come out. And then empaths, guard your heart so that you can bring us the light that is so needed right now, and the hope. Well, I hope these tips help you. Thank you so much. Share this broadcast with your friends. Thank you so much, and I will see you la próxima vez. Adiós.